I'm sitting in a hot, crowded room in a bad session where I've said that I don't understand, and you just humiliated me in front of everyone. I just failed this teaching practice, and I'd had no support in anything that had happened. I burst into tears, and they just carried on with the session and walked out.
They'd have compassion towards people who've been diagnosed, but no compassion towards people who are just finding it difficult. And they'd have undiagnosed mental issues or just difficulties because of what they've been subjected to, which they have no right to judge, but they do judge on a lot of things.
I remember at some point, possibly around the time when I was crying a lot, tentatively trying to figure out if there was anything that could be done to help me, and sort of being led to believe that there was a stigma, and that if any mental health issue went on my record, I'd find it very hard to get work. But I don't know where that came from, because it was at a particularly bad point in my life.
When you're thinking about mental health and whether or not activities are accessible to people living with mental health issues, then it shouldn't be about how do I deal with someone who may have a diagnosis of being bipolar, etc. Actually, it's about how can I ensure that these activities are potentially accessible to anyone.
We had an offer of going on a training session on mental health issues, and one of the tutors said, well, I don't need to go, I haven't got anyone with a mental health issue. And I said, how do you know that?
It's about how to deal with pressure, how to keep yourself well, how to cope, and what to do if you can't cope. It's not all to do with a label, is it?
One of the things that has changed since I've been ill, and we're talking more than mental illness here, and it's a change in me, is that I need now to see something through. Now I'm kind of like, well, I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not going to be defeated by this.
I believe that more people can access things like HE with the support. I think they should actively promote the fact that mental health issues shouldn't stop you from achieving.
For me, the issues are familiarity of venue and distance. There are certain distances and certain journeys I can travel, and others that I can't. Pre my health problems, that wouldn't have been an issue. Pre my issues, I was a very confident person. But in the last year since I've been ill and I've had my diagnosis, that has become a massive issue. I know that sometimes in a learning situation, I know I can get people's backs up and come over as arrogant. But actually when I come over as arrogant, it's just because I'm incredibly nervous.
I mean, we had an interesting conversation with the mental health group, which was each person in the group, we had to sit and chat, and we had to, as a sort of feedback into the whole group, say what would be the most frightening student for us to be confronted with. And then I threw the entire group, because I said for me the most frightening as a group would be middle-aged men in suits, because all my experience of middle-aged men in suits is negative. I would say it's about screening people when they first come in. It's about opening up what we know about how people learn, their learning styles, about their experiences, their barriers to learning. Screening about potential aspirations, screening about how you did at school, which activities filled you with dread. All that builds up a picture of who you are as a person and what you're going to require from the course. I did go to university. I did succeed, and I am actually out there helping other people.
I don't like institutions naturally. I'm there to get my pieces of paper, learn what I need to learn, and hopefully meet some people. At the end of the day, you should just get on with it. and I'm happy.
I think your point about mental well-being is absolutely the point, and we could almost stop now, because I think that's all you need to make people aware of.